Well, we did a video quite a while ago where we put a plow on our old lawnmower over here, didn't we, buddy?
Yes, we did.
It's been working out pretty good. However, the handle, we talked a little bit about how it keeps bending. And we did talk about how that has been upgraded by Brinley-Hardy that made the plow for Ryobi.
Yes.
However, they haven't really responded to us. We've reached out to them and we've said, hey, can we get like an upgrade here? Can we get the new handle so ours stops bending? Basically, all they said was that our engineering team is aware. But we also are aware of the fact that weather's been crazy, the virus stuff's going on, and, you know, we get it. Yeah. So basically, the snow in Cleveland isn't waiting for them to give us an answer or help us out, though.
Right.
I'm definitely not going to spend more money buying new parts when it should have worked right in the first place, in our opinion. And I'm certainly not going to, you know, buy another plow. So Jack and I are going to take it upon ourselves to fix it the best we can so that it works. And we're going to kind of show you our idea and how we're going to do it. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, when you're sitting on the seat here and you pull this handle, this little guy right here is bending at this point. And we don't want it to keep bending, and we don't want it to get weak and eventually break. Yeah. Now, the new one I showed in the last video, and I'll put a link in the description, has an arm that comes up much further. What we're going to do is we're going to straighten this out, and we have some old angle iron, which I think I have sitting right over here somewhere. All right, so here it is. This is actually just an old piece of angle iron we had from something else. Very strong. What we're going to do is we're going to straighten this out. We're going to put it on here, and we're going to secure it. Now, we don't really want to drill through it, even though this one already has holes. We feel like this piping is too weak to drill through. I might put one hole at the top, one at the bottom. I'm not exactly sure. And then ultimately, we're going to use like hose clamps and just put them around it to hold it in place. And we think that that will help the strength of the arm. And then ultimately, it won't bend anymore. And then hopefully, that'll help us to get it to last.
Yes.
And then hopefully, they reach out to us and either give us an upgraded type of arm of some sort so that it doesn't break. I mean, obviously, we don't know that this will last, depending on how we do it, but we're going to give it a shot. So we're going to work on that, and then we got a big, huge snowfall, about 1 foot of snow coming tomorrow night, right?
Supposedly.
So we're going to be pulling this guy out, so we're going to work on this and see if it can do the trick. All right, so this is pretty interesting, guys. We basically laid this down so we could, you know, straighten it out, and here's what we ran into. We took it off, and we found that this piece is actually bent as well. This is the main harness that holds it on, and you can see that it's starting to give. See that bend there? And then over here, you can see that this piece has bent where these two bolts hold it on. So we got to try to tighten those up because that shouldn't be moving either. So there's a couple of definitely imperfections in this. And again, we are going to reach out to them and ask them for a new mount. And we're just going to tell them that this is all giving. I mean, we're not using it for anything other than snow, and we haven't had an outrageous amount of snow. But this definitely shouldn't be bending like this. So we're going to try to rig this up to get through these next few snowfalls, but we're definitely going to have to reach out to them and ask them for a whole new harness apparatus to get on this plow. And we'll definitely do a follow-up video to see what happens, but we're going to rig it the best we can, and then tomorrow I'll do some footage in the snow and see how it does. All right, guys. It's a good thing we got this done. President's Day. We got hammered. It's still snowing, but I wanted to try to get this cleaned up so Pamela could get in coming home from work. Jack's over at his mother's. He didn't have school today because it's President's Day, and they already canceled school tomorrow. It's like snowing in Texas and stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I did do this. It worked out pretty well. You can see here what we did is, I'll turn this around, get a close-up here. What we did here to this piece is instead of mounting it underneath, we mounted it on top. So that part that was bent was kind of smashed up against here, it didn't lean as much. I don't know if it made a big difference, but it seemed to help. So that's what we did. This plate would normally be sitting on top of here, being bolted in. We put it on the bottom. It seemed to help. It wasn't so wobbly. Hopefully it won't cause it to bend as much. Maybe that's the way I was initially supposed to do it, but that's not what I saw in the directions. As far as this thing, we did get this piece of angle iron on here. As you can see here, what I did is it had a hole in it right here. So I put the hole through the one bolt that holds onto the arm, and then the rest I just put at the top. I had some hose clamps. And basically what that did is it straightened it out and it made it so it didn't bend. Let me see how much power I used. I didn't really look to see. I mean, wow, look at that. I hardly used any. I didn't even plug it back in yet. I mean, it's still got the blue light. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it took me about 15, 20 minutes. It just back it up and then push it down. Back it up, push it down. And like I said, the plow's gonna clean all that up. They don't care that that's on their tree lawn at all. When the snow does stop tomorrow, I'll do it again, and then I'll clean up the apron. What I do in those situations is I stop when I get to the apron, and then I pull back and forth and push it up onto my apron. But in a storm like this, it doesn't matter. You just do it. You just get it out of the way because it's nuts. And this is not even the beginning. This is about 3 or 4 inches. We're going to get a foot or so, they said. I'm just basically trying to make it so Pamela can pull in. You can see it coming down here by the light. And hopefully we can just get out in the morning, go for a nice early workout at the gym. And this guy does pretty good here. You know, I got the new tires and everything. And we'll just pull out and do it. And then when I come back home, because I work from home, a lot of times I'll pull into the street and then I'll do the whole driveway, neaten it up real good, and then I'll pull in. All right, so as you can see, guys, we're out here the next day. This is my lunch break. A lot more snow came down. Now, right here at the end of the garage, we do have a soffit here. So it does block a lot of that because it goes around the house. So it looks like there's not much, but that's just right up to the door. When you go down here, there's areas where there's still like another 6 inches that dumped after I already did it last night. And then, of course, the plow went by. Now, you can see, because a lot of people ask me, so why do you push it across? Because, again, you can't even tell now because the plow came and did the street. So now when I do it the second time, I'm not going to push it across the street. I'm going to push it to the end, and then I'm going to kind of go back and forth and then clear off that apron and stack it on our thing. I'm not going to take it across the street because the street's clear already. As far as how this went, let me turn this around and let you see here. You can hear everybody else's snowblower and everything going off. A lot of people are doing the same thing. So basically the way that this worked is we flipped this over. And instead of this sitting on top of this would normally be up here. You can see where the rust was. We put it on the bottom. And that's because this was bent. As you can see underneath here, this bent. And so it wasn't laying flat. And so by turning it around like this, it's much more flat and not as wiggly. Now, of course, it could just bend back. And last night when I was plowing, this nut actually broke. Luckily, I have some bolts around here and nuts, and I put another one on. And it could have been that it was only coming out of the bottom a little tiny bit, so that nut wasn't holding on to it very well. So this one's a lot bigger. You can see it hangs down a lot further. This one still here is barely making it. But anyway, I'll probably go get 2 nice big ones and just replace them both. But overall, that seems to be helping and get rid of some of the play that was in there. As far as the handle, it did a bang-up job. I mean, there's no issues at all. It worked great. Now, the only thing is without that taking that bend out, it's quite a far reach. Luckily, I have pretty long arms and legs. I can also move the seat up. Even with the seat all the way back, though, I could still reach up and get it pretty easily. But I'm probably going to move the seat forward, today, and that'll help as well. But again, we did no chains at all. This thing just weighs so much, and it has such good tires. I mean, even going down this hill, and you can see that my driveway is a bit of a hill. I basically push it down and then back up. I mean, this thing is just so incredibly impressive. So we're going to see If these bolts last, if I do have to replace this other one or get 2 new ones, I will. And again, I'm going to try to move the seat forward because this is a bit of a far reach. But yeah, you know, I am going to send this video to Brinley. And again, we love the plow. We think it's great. Just a little bit of, you know, messed up design. And they did make improvements. I just think that if you're a part of the people that bought the earlier one, they should have that available to replace it with, since it's really kind of defective and it bends so easily. So we used this the first year a few times, the second year a few times. This year we've already used it quite a few times because we just finally have a ton of snow, which is how it normally is. The last 2 years we just didn't have enough. And you could see, I mean, look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Look at those mountains of snow from the plows. This was all in a matter of one night. Started around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And by midnight, you know. So I'm glad I did it so that we could go. And you could see our tracks here from kind of leaving early and going to the gym. But, you know, I was able to get back in here and plug the car in so that, you know, it'd be ready to go if I needed it. But definitely going to have to clear this out now. So we'll see how this holds up again. All right, so there we go, guys. It was pretty rough. Basically, I went down the middle and then just kind of went back and forth, you know. Took all that stuff off the apron. Very cool. Did the same thing up here. This was a complete sheet of ice. I mean, this was just a sheet of ice underneath here. Still didn't use chains or anything. The tires rotated a couple times, but I certainly didn't get stuck. This is the lightest snow we've had since we've had snow with this thing. It's pretty much been heavy and wet every time. This was very light, so I was able to push huge amounts. I knocked this out in 20 minutes. A lot of times it's taken close to an hour because the snow's been so wet and cold. But this was the first time it was actually powder. So it's kind of nice. Knocked it out right away. Went down the middle, back and forth. The handle did an amazing job. No bending at all. I did move the seat up so I didn't have to lean over as far. And the nuts that I put in there and moving that up to the front there worked very well. Let me turn this around. The pin works great. I really don't have to get out and change the pin. A lot of people say that's annoying. If you hit the snow, if you have like a bank of snow, you kind of just hit it with the side, it does slightly tilt to kind of keep it to the side. So just messing around with that has taught me you don't need to do that. These clamps worked great. I mean, this didn't give at all. So, you know, we made a couple modifications. So far, it's working out very well. We would like to get a new handle apparatus, though I can't imagine they're very expensive. Honestly, we kind of feel like they should send them to us without cost, because we were, you know, one of the first groups of people that bought the plow, and the handle was obviously not made well, and they do have a new version of it where this kind of leverage comes all the way up. So that would be nice to have. I am going to contact them. I'm probably just going to send them this video and kind of see what they'll do. Maybe they'll give it to us at least at a reduced rate or something to upgrade it, because the plow itself is wonderful. I'm a little upset about how that bent like that, but probably what I'm going to do is just get 2 nice big bolts and re-bolt that, and as long as that stays, I'll be happy with that. But I would like a new lever there. All in all, this thing has just crushed. I mean, you know, as heavy as it is, and even with the slant on our driveway and it being a pure sheet of ice, I mean, you can see here, I mean, it's just ice from where our tire treads were, you know, and down here is all just ice. Did a really great job, cleaned up the street really good. The mailman actually came. He was like, oh, thanks for clearing out in front of the mailbox. He said that, you know, that the plows really don't get that close. So what I did is I actually went down the street and ran a path all the way down the street around the corner. And then over here, same thing. Kind of got it a little closer. You could see the fire hydrant there is got a stick on it because it's buried. This is what goes on. Now, I know a lot of folks are going to say, oh, you didn't do the sidewalk. We have an incredibly long sidewalk. And we do not do it during storms like this. No one's out here walking anyway. It's 18 degrees,
and nobody does their sidewalks. What we will do is when it warms up a little bit and when we can, you know, get out here, I will take that plow and go all the way down the sidewalk. And then at the end, we'll just take a shovel and scoop it off. And then I'll come all the way back and do the same thing. But yeah, in about 15 minutes, Jack and I can do the sidewalk all the way down to this corner and all the way down to this corner. It's very, very nice. But there's no one out. School's been canceled. We'll probably do it in a couple of days or something of that nature. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, those solar panels aren't producing anything today, that's for sure. It's way too cold for that snow to melt. It did start there, you can see. And then that's the reason we have more panels. So if you live in a place like this, you just get more panels. So during the sunny seasons, you bank more, send them back to the, you know, the electric company, and then you can bank those and save those for times of the year like this. That's all you got to do is just get a few more. It's not really that big a deal. We will be doing an update on those panels and the car and everything like that. We are fully electric now, completely electric. Vehicles, tools, yard work, everything. I love this. This plow is about $300. You can look at our playlist and see some of the other, when we first got it. This is our third winter with it. It's done a miraculous job. For 300 bucks, it does a way easier, better job. Since we have this anyway, you know, why not put a plow on the front? So it's done a great job. I've used it about 12, 13 times now, and this would have been back-breaking work or a huge, you know, snowblower, which would have cost way more than $300, probably 3 times that, if not 4 or 5 times that. So anyway, there we go. We'll see if this storm lets up. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, and if you're out there, be careful and enjoy the snow and have fun.